said, we have a lot of animals that come from Central and South America. We have a few that don't, but they're so cute we had to bring them anyway. I think let's start with one that doesn't, and we'll end in Central and South America. So first we're going to start in Africa, my friends, and she comes from the African savanna. Now when you guys think of Africa, you probably think of lions, right? And cheetahs, and maybe really big snakes, or rhinos, or elephants, things like that. Well, she's there too, with all of those really amazing animals. There's this tiny little friend as well.
Oh, look at her, so cute.
Here she is. Her name is Sonic, and Sonic is a... That's right. We had to name her Sonic, you guys. And more specifically than just a hedgehog, she's what's known as an African pygmy hedgehog. And she's called an African pygmy hedgehog because she comes from Africa. And the pygmy part of her name is because she's the world's smallest type of hedgehog. Even though she fits right in the palm of my hand, she doesn't get any bigger than this. This is it for our little tiny Sonic. Now, like we said, Sonic the Hedgehog, this Sonic the Hedgehog, African pygmy hedgehogs, they come from the African savanna, and I kind of named some already, but can anyone raise their hand and tell me, what is maybe a predator that you might find out in the wild? What do we think? Ooh, vultures, that's a great one, absolutely. What about here? Oh, a cheetah, yep, for sure. Ooh, elephants, you might have to watch out for those big stomping feet, right? And one more. Yeah, absolutely, snakes. So you guys, lions, cheetahs, snakes, she needs to be able to get away from those big predators. Has anyone here seen the movie Sonic the Hedgehog or played the video game? Yeah, a lot of us? Okay, cool. So you guys know, Sonic the Hedgehog is what? Fast or slow? What do we think? Do we think that this Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be fast or slow? Should we test it out today, you guys? Alright, I need someone who's feeling very fast today. Let's see, how about my friend right there? Come on up. And watch your step. Don't step on anyone's fingers or toes. We gotta weave through the crowd there, my friend. We're gonna have a human versus hedgehog race today, you guys. Okay, my friend, what is your name? Antonio. Okay, Antonio, you said that you're feeling fast today, right? Perfect. You're like, I'm gonna help too. Oh my goodness. Okay, you ran a lap at school today, so you got some practice in. I saw her running around earlier with her friends at the zoo, so I think she got some practice in too. She's ready to go. So Antonio, what we're gonna do, this is the shortest race of all time. Are you ready? We're gonna start at the end of the table, and it goes to the other end of the table. That's the long one. Okay, now you're gonna very, very safely, let me move this so you don't trip. You're gonna very, very safely run from one end to the other on the count of 3. I'll put her down too, and we'll see who is faster, a human or a hedgehog. You guys, let's get loud for them. Give them a big round of applause. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Looks like you're going the wrong way. What do we think, you guys? Who's faster, the human or the hedgehog? Let's give Antonio a big round of applause. Antonio, I tricked you a little bit there, my friend, but you were ready to go. Do you want to give her a big pet? What do you think she feels like? Kind of spiky. Yeah, one more big round of applause for Antonio. Good job, my friend. You can have a seat, okay? That's right, she's a little spiky. Okay, so now that we know that hedgehogs are not very fast at all, do we still think that she's going to run away from her predators? No, right? She's not too fast. Instead, what she's going to use, yell it out. Ooh, is she gonna hide? Kind of. What's she gonna use all over her? Her spikes, that's right. Okay, you guys, this doesn't hurt her, I promise. Her skin is supposed to be able to do this. She has extra stretchy skin, and, ready? It can stretch all the way out like this, super stretchy! Then, what she does is she takes that stretchy skin, she puts her spikes all over her head and her body. She tucks everything into that ball, puts her spikes straight up into the air, and then she just sits there and hopes nothing bad happens to her. Yeah. But if you're a lion, or you're a cheetah, or you're a snake, you are going to bite down on something like a hedgehog as hard as you possibly can. And that's going to really hurt. Those spikes are how she's going to stay nice and safe out in her habitat. Now, you might be looking at me, or maybe even Antonio, who pet her, and think, well, if she's so spiky, how can we hold her? How can we pet her? Everyone, take a look at your fingernails. Take a look at the hair on your arms. Your hair and your fingernails are made out of a special protein called keratin, and that's what her spikes are made out of too. They're modified hairs that make her a little bit pokey when she wants to be. But Antonio, was she like super, super, super pokey? No, just a little bit, right? So when she is not scared or threatened, she has her spikes down. She only uses them when she needs to. Now, when she's not keeping herself safe from predators, she actually becomes a predator herself. The way that it works is she has that super long, powerful nose, and she can sniff all around looking for bugs to eat. Yeah, she's an insectivore, so it's all bugs on the menu for her. My friends, raise your hand. Who else here likes to eat bugs? That might be the most hands I've ever seen. Bugs are a really good source of sustainable protein. So even though, to me and you, it might not sound like the most delicious thing on the menu, although, I don't know, we had a lot of cakes there. They are a really, really great source of sustainable protein. So it's something we might
Got him.
here in the U.S. Now, my friends, remember, all of our animals, they all have a job to do too. So when she's an insectivore, her job is population control of all those teeny tiny little insects. She makes sure that there's never too many in one spot at once. And well, that might seem really silly. Like, how come we need to control how many ants there are? Ants are so tiny. But if you think about it, if there's no one there to control them, they become way overpopulated. Ant hills and termite mounds everywhere. And that's a really big problem for the other animals in her ecosystem. So her job, even though it may be small, is really, don't worry, she's not a ghost. Instead, she comes from way up high, up in the trees out there, in that dry environment. Here she is. This is Casper, and I've heard it. What kind of animal is Casper? And more specifically than just a chameleon, Casper here is a veiled chameleon. And veiled chameleons are pretty easy to tell apart from other chameleons because of that big shark fin that she has on her head. Now, I call it a shark fin, but really it's called a casque. That's C-A-S-Q-U-E, and she can use that casque for two things. The first, remember, we said she comes from a dry environment. Sometimes when we think of chameleons, we think of them coming from hot, humid, tropical places. And some of them certainly do, but not this type of chameleon. She comes from a very dry place. So in order for her to get her water, she has that casque on the top of her head. So every time she eats, a little bit of the fat from her food goes into that casque and it gets really, really big. So if you're a zookeeper or a chameleon owner, you want to take a look at that casque to see if it's too big or too skinny, and that's how you can tell if your chameleon is too big or too skinny. And right now, it's just right. That way, if she has to go for a long period of time out in her habitat without finding any food, remember, she can't just go to the chameleon grocery store and get something to eat. She has to go hunting. So, if she has to go a long time without finding that food, she can pull from the fat in that casque as an energy source. That's going to give her the energy she needs to go find the actual food. Now, speaking of food, what does she like to eat? She is known as an omnivore. Do omnivores like to eat plants, meat, or both? Oh, that's right, yeah. The majority of her diet is going to be protein, bug protein specifically. But a veiled chameleon like her can even eat something like a small bird or even a small mouse. So she doesn't mind eating something a little bit bigger and more protein rich too. The way, well, you guys probably know. How does a chameleon eat? What do? Yell it out. They stick their tongue out, that's right. She has a spring-loaded tongue. It's kind of like this, like all the way in the back of her throat, ready to go at all times. When something comes across her path, she shoots out that tongue. It can go the entire length of her body, from the tip of her tail to the tip of her mouth. Because it's so long, she'll be able to grab things way further than she is, and it has a really, really sticky end. That way, it can grab on to that maybe praying mantis or worm or cricket or grasshopper or bird, and it can bring it into her mouth where she's got those big teeth to chomp it. Now, like I said, she also does eat plants, and for the most part, these guys are going to be eating flowers. Flowers are kind of like the ice cream cone in the animal kingdom. So if they can find a flower, that's going to be really sweet and yummy, a nice little treat for them as they move along. Now, speaking of moving along, where do they live? You guys, check it out. Not only is she sitting on my hand, but she's also sitting on a branch. Chameleons are perfectly made. If you guys do like this with your fingers, this is what their fingers look like. And you can kind of see, they're small, but you can see. And they look like this because they're perfectly made to always be up on branches. They're like little mittens. That way she can perfectly grab on to tiny little branches as she moves around her habitat. You might also see she's like starting to coil her tail around my arm. She has what's called a prehensile tail. Can you guys say prehensile? Prehensile means grasping. She has muscles and bones all throughout that tail that help her to hold on. That way, when she's up in the trees, if a branch breaks or she slips, she can shoot that tail out, wrap it around the branches, and that's going to keep her nice and safe and keep her from falling all the way to the ground. Now, my friends, there are so many things about chameleons. I could literally talk about them all day, but what are they famous for?
By their colors.
Their colors. Okay, we're going to get really scientific. Is everyone ready? Okay, a lot of times people think that chameleons change color so that they can camouflage. Can anyone quietly raise their hand and tell me, what does it mean to camouflage? What do we think? How about here? What do you think? Your hand was up and then it was going down. Do you have a guess? No, that's okay. How about, someone I haven't caught on. How about here? Yeah, to hide, to blend in. So sometimes, like if you watch cartoons, they would tell you that if you put a chameleon on like my black shirt, that she would turn black. But that's not really how it works. That would be really, really helpful for her, but it's not how it works. Instead, chameleons do camouflage with their colors, but that's not its purpose. Its purpose is to communicate. So she has 4 layers of skin. Every layer of skin is responsible for different cells or color cells that will change the color that she wants to change. So let's say that she is feeling a little territorial. There's another chameleon in her space and she wants to tell that chameleon to go away. What she's gonna do is her hormones will start firing. It's gonna trigger those brown and black color cells to expand and contract, and that's gonna make her really, really dark. If she's, do you guys see how bright she is right now? The reason she's so bright right now, she's excited. She's never been to your library before. She's seeing all of you guys. Her hormones are currently firing and telling her green and blue and yellow color cells to expand and contract, and that's what's making her bright right now. When she's just right in the middle, like doesn't care about anything, everything is cool and content, she'll be like kind of brown, kind of green. And of course, because the colors that she's changing are natural colors, yellows, greens, blues, and browns, that's going to help her to camouflage, but again, not the purpose of it for her. Yeah. Oh, this one we don't touch, only because she's so delicate. Little chameleons are made up of tons and tons of bones, just like me and you, but our bones are big and strong. Hers are like teeny tiny toothpicks. That's why I barely even hold her. Instead, I bring her out on this because that's actually going to be most comfortable. Now, like I said, you guys, I could talk about chameleons all day. I'll leave you guys with one other fact. What do we know about their eyeballs? What do they do? Oh, that's a good guess. I think some of them can. Other lizards can for sure, and toads. But they can move different directions at the same time, right? So everyone, take a look to your left. Now take your other eye and move it to the right. We can't do that, right? Our eyes go one way or the other way, they go together. But a chameleon can. She can move one eye to the left and one eye to the right, and that's going to help her to see everything that's going on around her and give her a really good view of everything that's happening. Because not only is she a predator, but she has predators too that she needs to keep herself safe from. Okay, my friends, we have one more little buddy that does not come from Central or South America, but he has lots and lots of cousins that do. So, oh, you know what? I actually think I need some friends to help you with this one. Let's see. I know we only had one volunteer. Antonio, there you go. Okay, I was going to make sure your hand wasn't raised. I was like, we only had one so far. Okay, how about here? How about right there? How about, oh, it's so hard. How about, what do we think? Here, right there. And one more. How about here? That might be too many already, but that's okay. If I call on you, come on up. Yeah, don't be shy. Come on up, my friend. There we go. Both of you. Up. There we go.
Just walks on over.
Perfect. You guys were matching. I said I had to call on both of you. Okay, perfect. I always do this with this one. I call on way too many, but that's okay. Come on up, my friends. Okay, you guys, what we're gonna do is, everyone has a mask on? Yes. So, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go like shoulder to shoulder, okay? So come up here, I'm gonna move you a little bit, just like this. And actually, let's do this. Put your backs against here, so you're in a straight line. Yep. Perfect, and then, this is always the hard part, organizing them the way they need to be. Ready? Scooch all the way this way, all the way this way, all the way this way. Keep it scooching, keep it scooching. Okay, perfect, excellent. Okay, my friends, you did not know this, but when you came up here, you guys became trees, okay? Your feet are planted into the ground. Yep, and your arms are strong. Everyone use your muscles, bring your strong branches up just like this. Perfect. Okay, awesome. All right, my friends, now this is gonna be a surprise for you. You guys are gonna help me hold somebody today. So I'm gonna have you guys stay facing the audience, and I'm gonna get my friend, but no peeking, okay? Audience, if you see them peeking, yell it out. We wanna know about it, okay? No peeking, guys, it's gonna be a surprise. Now, this little buddy, he comes all the way from Madagascar. Madagascar is, of course, an island off the coast of Africa, and he's to be found on the ground of the rainforest of Africa.
Never mind.
Give her a big round of applause, you guys. Paco, he's gonna hang out right back here for a second. Yeah, that should be good. Now, Paco comes from the rainforest. He's gonna come out and hang out right on the street.
Oh my god! Everybody's freaking out. It's Edgar! It says Paco, but it looks like Edgar.
Oh my goodness, he's getting a standing ovation. I love it. Now, just like
look at him go!
He is a little slow and he's making his way on out. There we go. Now, Paco here is a two-toed sloth, and as we wheel him around, you guys will see, if you look at his back feet, you actually won't see two toes. You'll see three toes instead. All sloths have three toes in the back, and then they either have two or three toes in the front. And that's how he gets his name, the two-toed sloth. Because he has two toes in the front, he's a two-toed sloth. But if he had three toes, he would be a three-toed sloth. He's gonna come out and have some snacks for us. I always try to go healthy first. We'll see if he wants some lettuce. Usually the answer is no. He's like, I want the good stuff, lady. Where's the apples? I want something nice and juicy. Here you go, buddy. You can have a piece of apple. Does that sound good? Yeah. Now, he's going to eat some apple for us because sloths like him are herbivores. We talked a lot about omnivores, carnivores, but he's an herbivore. That means it's all plants on the menu for Paco. He uses his strong and powerful nose to sniff all around for different types of plants to eat. Does anyone here have a dog or a cat at home? Some of us. So you might notice with your dog and your cat that they also have a wet nose. The reason they have a wet nose is because that wetness of the nose traps in scent particles that allow him to smell even better. He can smell way better than you and I can, and that's because he doesn't have great eyesight. So to make up for that lack of eyesight, he's going to use that really, really powerful nose to follow around. I hear a lot of I want to feed, but my friends, I don't know if you know this about sloths. They're really small. Take a look around. We look at here, literally children. I think if everyone fed him. He is not our friend that we get to pet or feed today, but we still get to see a sloth up close. It's pretty amazing. Now, as you guys can see, I am feeding him upside down. That wouldn't work out so well for me and you. But remember, sloths are perfectly made to do every single thing upside down. They eat upside down, they sleep upside down. The only thing they don't do upside down, I'll give you guys a hint. What do we think? What does he not do upside down? Do what? Climb. He doesn't climb upside down. This is my hint. It's a little icky.
The restroom.
They do their privacy. Oh, you say it so nice. I say they poop. Everyone says they poop. That's right, they poop. They don't poop upside down. Instead, what they do is once a week, they only go to the bottom once a week. They shimmy on down to the bottom of their tree, and that's where they do their business. For me and you, that probably wouldn't work out so well, right? We have to go to the bathroom more than once a week, but for him, it's too dangerous down there. He goes once a week because there's jaguars, there's snakes, there's lots of predators that he has to keep himself safe from. He goes down once a week to do his business because when he does his business at the base of that tree, he fertilizes the tree and allows it to continue to grow. He doesn't want to have to go find a new tree with new leaves and new shelter. Instead, if he can keep the one that he's already on growing as it should, that's going to be perfect for him because sloths are known to be lazy. They don't want to go find another tree. They're good right where they are. Now out in the rainforest where they come from, sloths can be found in the top 2 layers of the rainforest. Rainforests have 4 layers. The forest floor, the understory, which is branchy and shady. Then we have the canopy, and that's branchy and sunny. And finally, way up top is the emergent layer. So tall that it touches the clouds over 100 feet in the air sometimes. And that's where you can find him. The tallest layer, the emergent layer, and the canopy. Again, they're way up there because that's where it's going to be safest from those jaguars, from those snakes. They wouldn't be able to keep themselves safe. Jaguars can climb. They won't go up that high though. Jaguars will go to the understory. That's where it's going to be safe for them. They get too high, ooh, that could be a little scary, right? They're not making you. Now, I know you guys said that you guys wanted to pet him. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how he feels because he does feel kind of interesting. He's not soft like your dog or your cat. Instead, he's a little bit more coarse or rough feeling. And the reason for that is because he has grooves on every single one of those hairs. Because he's got grooves, what he'll do is he'll collect algae on his hair. It's so hot, it's so humid in the rainforest that algae will grow. And if you see pictures of a wild sloth, typically they're brown, just like he is, but they're also a little bit green, and that's going to help them to camouflage even more. But that algae does a few other things too. Remember, sloths are kind of lazy, so I like to call it like breakfast in bed for him. If he has that algae on his back, he can take his long claw and scratch the algae off of his back. He'll bring his long claws into that mouth and take the algae off. That way he can get the nutrients from that algae without even having to use it. The other thing that's kind of cool, other things will eat that algae, not just him. So things like moths and cockroaches, little bugs, they go into his thick fur, they eat up the algae, and then things like little lizards will go into the fur and eat the moths that are eating the algae on his back. You want this one? This is I was going to say this is a zucchini. He usually doesn't eat it, but he's eating it today. He's eating his veggies for you guys. He's like, okay, I'll have one of these. But, you smell it? Oh, okay. He's taking a little nibble. There's a good chance that halfway through this, he just drops it on the ground. He's like, my zookeeper will pick it up. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Exactly. What they should be eating out in the wild, a lot of times what they'll eat is lots of, we call it browse, but it's really just, that's fancy zookeeper word for leaves. They're so slow moving because their diet is so low energy. Because they have a low energy diet of mostly leaves, that's why they're so incredibly slow. And that's why they sleep so much. It's like a hula dancing alligator for you guys today. Now, like I said, Captain Crunch is an American alligator. Down in South and Central America, we do have alligators and we have crocodiles. So they're so closely related. I think he's a pretty good fit for our celebration of Hispanic Heritage. Now, this is just a little guy right now. He's going to get much, much bigger. I need someone to help me out to show everybody how big he's going to get. Come over right there. Come on up. This is a nice, easy job to volunteer for. Okay, my friend, what you're going to do, this is very, very simple. Ready? You're going to stand right here. And then you guys, you're going to stay there. Every step I take, we're going to count to 13 together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so from me to my friend down there, is how big Captain Crunch is going to eventually get.
What?
He has a lot of growing to do, but he's got a long time to do it. He's going to grow to be 13 feet long and weigh over 1,000 pounds. But it does take about 60 to 80 years in order to do so. Okay, my friend, that was a very simple thing to volunteer for, but you do get a special prize for helping me out. You want to know what your prize is? Ready? You get to give Captain Crunch a little kiss today. I'm just kidding. One time I said that to a kid and he took his mask off, was puckering up. I was like, you're crazy, you were going to kiss an alligator. No. Instead, you get to give him a little pet. What do you think he feels like? Yeah, a little bit rough. All right, you guys, let's give my volunteer a big round of applause. He's a little bit rough. He's covered in scales, and those scales are going to help to protect him. Not only do they act like kind of an armor as he moves around his hot, humid, swampy environment, but they also help to trap in heat. Because he's a reptile, he is known as exothermic. That means he gets his energy from the sun. So that way, when a hot, sunny day, he comes out, he basks in the sun, soaks up all that heat. That's going to give him the energy he needs to go out and find his food. And of course, as an alligator, it's all meat on the menu for him. He will use his super sharp eyesight to look all around. Attention. So, oh my goodness, she loves when she can be way up high and see all of her beautiful faces. Now, Sophie here is a green-winged macaw because if you look at her wings, she's got a little bit of green on them, and that's how she gets her name. Would you like a treat today? You guys have a treat? Sometimes being outside for Sophie, are we going to do it? Sometimes being in front of an audience is so exciting, she doesn't even want to eat. But I have lots of seeds and nuts. You can eat one. And let's see if she wants to eat one for us. There we go. We picked an almond today. So you guys, parrots like her, she's a macaw. And macaws are a large type of parrot, again, that come from South and Central America. You guys can see, when I fed her that almond, she was able to crack that almond, no problem. That beak is super, super powerful. She can bite down with a force about 5 times that of a human. Because her main diet out in her habitat is seeds and nuts, she has a built-in nutcracker with that beak so that she can get to all the good stuff inside. Oh yeah, parrots are very, very messy, and we talked so much about their jobs today. Believe it or not, this mess that she is making is her job. Parrots out in the rainforest are known as seed dispersers. They're called seed dispersers because, well, they disperse or spread seeds all throughout the rainforest, and they do that in 2 ways. The first way is, well, she's not perfect. You guys can see just how messy she is. Every once in a while, she will drop a seed down to the ground by accident, and that's one way to spread a seed out in her habitat. But the main way to spread a seed, oh my goodness, you guys, we're going to talk about it again. She does it about every 15 minutes when she gets a nice full belly. I know, I'm sorry. We're talking about it again. I didn't even realize I did that. That's right. She goes to the bathroom. When she does, that teeny tiny seed comes out in a little fertilizer packet, goes right into the ground, and will hopefully grow into a plant, providing food and shelter for the other many, many animals. Sophie is 27 years old right now, and she can live to be about 80 to 100 years old. They live a really, really long time. So that's another reason we always get parrots as rescues is their parents pass on and they say that my parent left this beautiful parrot in the will to me. And guess what? Parrots, they form a pair bond. So normally they don't get along with anyone else except for one person. And so often that's another really big way we get parrots as rescues. So like I said, we like to tell people parrots, they belong in the wild, they belong in the rainforest so that they can do that job that we just talked about. Now in the rainforest, we know it rains all the time. Another cool thing about Sophie is that she actually has a little tiny rain jacket on right now. The way that it works is she has a little oil gland on the base of her tail,